make some.
Good morning and what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Subi Shades video. It's been a beautiful day. Hashtag Team All Blade and hashtag No Blade Left Behind. Come on in, throw me a Subi smile, and all I gotta say is squad goals. Thank you for being here, for clicking in today's video, and for joining me. Hopefully wherever you're tuning in from, you're drinking something delicious, you're sitting in a comfy chair, and you're ready for a shave. You know I am. Today we've got just over 48 hours of stubble, and we're gonna be knocking it down with Pete's brand new scent. That's right, HC&C, Hendrix Classic & Co. is just going to be releasing this shortly. It is Year of the Dragon. It's probably my favorite label all time to date from Pete over at Hendrix Classic & Co. And I absolutely am thrilled to be doing a kind of a spotlight, a showcase, and a discussion on the scent. It is based on Armani's Stronger With You leather. Again, that is Stronger With You leather. It's a really beautiful scent. It's a kind of it's a rich kind of, ritzy scent, if you ask me. And we're going to be kind of talking about it and showcasing it alongside one of my new favorite all-time best single edge razors. I think at least right now, right? Especially at that budgetary price, the Parker SoloEdge. I absolutely love the razor, and I got a bunch of questions that I want to kind of go over and discuss as we're doing the spotlight on the soap today with this razor. It's very interesting. It's just under 100 grams, under 4 inches of length, just barely. It's got a really, really nice feel to it. For me, the handle, I honestly, I said it a couple times before to some people I was talking with, but for me, it's almost a little slippery, but with the grooves, it's usable. I really believe it's usable. It doesn't come across as being like too slippery or too cheap. I really like the way it feels in the hand. It has a nice heft to it because of the weight and the length of it and the size of the head. Every stroke kind of feels very smooth, and it's very forgiving, honestly, because of the angle that it sets for you. I really like that preset angle. It's a single edge razor, again, that uses half DE razor blades from the Parker brand, and I'm really excited to talk about it today. We're going to be using, and I want to share this with everyone, the Med Preps. These are the Personna Med Preps, and the reason why we're using those today is because I got asked if we can snap blades, if they use the snap blades, or if you have to use the Parker branded single edge, the singlets, the Shavette blades. And the reason why I'm talking about this today and why I really want to stress it is we're going to show it in the loading video, but I actually had an uneven exposure as I was assembling the razor today, and I believe I know why, and I was able to resolve that situation and get a really clean, comfortable, very close shave for not a lot of effort whatsoever with those blades. And I want to talk to you about what happened, what I think is going on, and a solution that works for me at least in getting this razor to line up nice and straight. Really excited to have everybody here for the shave. It's going to be really nice. Again, the scent behind HC&C's Year of the Dragon, which is the Year of the Green Wood Dragon, right? Which is, we're currently ongoing. It's been 2 days into it. I really like this concept behind this. It is a leather forward scent, right? But it starts off with chestnut, spice, and then it kind of mixes together with a beautiful sage and lavender, and then that kind of makes it for a segue. It kind of rounds out with the leather. You have a vanilla. It kind of makes this really, really soft, buttery, I think is the best way to put it, buttery leather tone for my nose at least. It doesn't smell like you're riding on a saddle. So for me, leather tones tend to be one of two ways. You either get the saddle effect where you feel like you're riding on a horse, or you feel like you're riding in a Ferrari, right? That kind of horse where it smells rich, it smells ritzy, it smells classy, it smells buttery, it smells warm. And I get that. I think the vanilla in the scent, right? It does have this agarwood, an oud presence to it. It also has guaiac wood. I want to make sure I say that right. Guaiac wood. For me, the oud kind of plays really well. It adds a smoky note to it, and it mixes in together with those spices, the chestnut, the lavender and sage. For me, that really lifts this scent. It really brings it together, and it makes it unique. I feel like a lot of leather scents, they lose some of that uniqueness, right? They need something to kind of lift it and bring it all together. I like this. I think it smells classy for me. I think it smells really, really nice, and it has a lot of projection. I like that it actually is a scent that's leather, but that leather comes out and it stays out, right? Sometimes that leather kind of dissipates and what you get left with is something really floral. And I was worried that the lavender would be that way in this scent, and it's not. It's really classy. Fragnatica had a lot of really positive reviews, a lot of really good things to say about the scent, and so do I. I really like the back of the scent, the backbone to it, right? That leather really stays prominent. It stays very forward, and it stays on your nose, which I personally prefer. But it doesn't, again, smell like that hard, smoky, like kind of the darker leather tones. It smells buttery. It smells very vanilla-y, and I like that. It smells very classy. The lather today, speaking of class, take a look at the shine. Look at this shimmer. You can almost see your reflection in there, right? And that's after the face shave. We've got all that left. I know I keep overusing my lather, but from Pete, you get so much of it and it's gonna last for so long. That's really not a problem. I did that with my Mojo, and this is the Kituah brush. I think that it really paired well in the photos with that gold and that kind of the red and the kind of the fiery tones. Look at the way the brush, I just love those photos, the way it all turned out. And then I was able to get in there and swirl some light around the actual product to give it like almost a glowing fire effect. Oh, I really like those photos. And I really like the way everything turned out with the product. Again, it's going to be releasing on the 17th of February. Again, February 17th, we got it, and it's gonna be fantastic. Make sure if you are interested in the product, if you like the scent, if you're a person that wears the scent on the regular, let me know in the comments below. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on Pete's brand new release, Year of the Dragon. It's all about, knowledge and being, and building yourself. And that's what kind of the Year of the Dragon's all about, that knowledge and empowerment. I really like that. I think it sounds really interesting. Hopefully the 2024's Year of the Dragon is successful and everybody's having a great one. Let's get in here and let's do some shaving with the Parker Solo Single Edge. For me, it's a beautiful razor. I really like the way it assembles. I really like the fit and finish on the razor. For me, it actually feels nicer than it costs, right? That's one of the things I want to call out. It is definitely offset when you look at the price value to the quality item that you're getting. That's, again, my personal opinion. I think it looks very nice. The actual holes here, I've not had any lather buildup problems or any like stubble buildup problems, but I had somebody ask me if they thought those holes could be elongated or enlarged. And I actually think if like in a future iteration they wanted to do that, I don't think it would impact the razor negatively. Now the actual razor, the way it assembles, right, is the two pieces. You have this handle that spins. You have a base plate that stays on, like it stays on. It doesn't come off, right? It doesn't disassemble. And then you have a head cap that goes on. And again, I'm going to show all of that in the assembly video. I want to make sure to be very clear and showcase everything I'm doing. But what happened is as you snap your blades, right, the back of the blades, the actual tabs are going to snap unevenly. And before, when I was kind of playing around with the razor, doing some, assembling, what I noticed is as I was snapping blades, I never had blades that super overhung the actual ledge where the base plate is, right? So what you end up having is like this kind of like the angle, and then you have the base plate where it goes on top, right, where the cap sits flush. What ends up happening is when you have a lot of overhang and not a lot of overhang on the other side, if it snaps unevenly, you get a cap that sits crooked, right? Because it has pressure up in one spot where it doesn't have it in the other, and what it doesn't allow the razor to fully set. In my opinion, that's at least what I believe is happening internally. You can see that this now closes nice and tight. You see that? Before, when I was assembling it in the video, when I was putting the blades that I had snapped in the actual razor, it didn't have that same thing. I had a very, very open end here and a very tight here. They were not the same. They were not even. And that's what kind of encouraged me to look at the blade exposure. I talked about that when I was doing the blade loading video for Parker. I said, you want to make sure that the razor blade is loaded and it is straight, level, and secure, right? And I always call that out, even when you're using a modern razor or if you're using a vintage razor, if you're retrofitting something together, doing a Subi hack, right? You always want to make sure you have perfect exposure that is level and straight. Otherwise, you're going to dice yourself up. And that's kind of what caught me off. As I said, the cap didn't look straight. I looked at the exposure. It was the first call, and I said, okay, we got to talk on the channel about this. I want to be very clear. I want to be very transparent. I want to be very honest with everybody here. I think the razor assembles very easily when you're using their pre-cut blades because you're never going to have that overhang issue. When you're snapping blades and they snap unevenly, like these med preps did for me, which they usually do. I tested Derbies. I tested Personna. I tested the GSBs, the the Gillette Silver Blues. I tested the Personna Reds. I went through a bunch of different ones and I never had that problem. First thing this morning, of course, the snap blades, uneven tabs, doesn't load straight. So what I did is I got some Subi scissors out. I cut those tabs, the little curves off, and voila, we got straight exposure. So I want to call that out. I was also asked, and we're going to start some shaving here. I was also asked if you can do the Subi, kind of my thing that I enjoy where I stack my blades, right? And it does work. I want to call that out. The razor does assemble still very tight, very straight, without issues. If you want to do a little bit of Subi hacking and assembling that way, I personally like it, but that's not for everybody. I know it's not for everybody. For me, the razor is very smooth with a single blade or a double blade. This morning, I actually, I loaded it with you guys on camera with a single blade, but then I added another blade. I want to call that out. I am Subi stacked currently. There are 2 blades in this razor and we still have perfect exposure. Very, 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 very smooth. I also was asked not only if it would fit Parker blades, but if it really would fit other branded blades. So I wanted to use the Personna Med Preps, just because I wanted to showcase that it does use other brands. You can snap the blades, right? You can snap them. Now, again, you may have that issue where if it snaps really unevenly like mine did this morning, obviously it's going to do that on camera. If that happens, there is a solution. There is a workaround. It just involves one snip on both sides of those blades. Now, if you can't handle that, again, they do offer their single edge, their blades pre-cut, and there's a lot of other brands that do that as well, where you can buy them pre-made as singlets or as shavette blades, which for me, I don't really mind getting my scissors out. I always keep a pair in my drawer of Subi skizzes just in case. My buddy reached out to me and said he was finally a Subi shaver and had scissors in his drawer, and I got a good laugh out of that. I said, that is fantastic. I am, welcome to the crowd. Welcome to the community here. There's 1,700 of us now. Oh, that's so cool. It's so cool to say. We now could fit in an auditorium, which is awesome, right? And welcome to it, right? With Subi scissors in drawers. That is awesome. I love seeing that. And again, the razor is smooth. It is very easy to use. It is a $40 razor, so it comes in under that $50 mark, which I also like. It's a budget minded, again, offset, where I believe that you get more value for the razor than you are paying, and it shaves really sweet with that preset angle. The lather today is giving me nothing but protection, tons of smoothness, tons of slickness, and I love Pete's soap. I mean, I always talk about it every single time I use it. It reminds me how good his lather really is and how much fun it is to shave with. I get tons and tons of protection, and that leather scent he's come up with, right? He's using the Stronger With You leather by Armani is just very classy. I think that the most interesting part of that scent for me is the lavender mixing with the sage. It is just really, really nice. Cecile Maton, right, is the person behind that fragrance, and it was released in 2020, and I think it just pops. I think it has just so much projection, so much uniqueness, especially in a world where there's a lot of leather, right? A lot of different leather scents, and all of us get leather in different ways, right? We all experience leather on a daily basis, probably, whether it's a belt, whether it's a pair of shoes. We all experience it. We all have personal kind of feelings towards leather and the way it comes across our nose and the different times it comes across our nose. There's so many different types of leather and so many different uses for it, right? So for me, this is more of like that bougie, ritzy, classy, buttery vanilla. I really, really like this. I want to call this out. I don't know if I caught it before. Elame. It has elame in it, which for me is like almost a resinous. It's an interesting add-on to the scent and something that you don't see frequently inside of fragrances that I really like. I don't know. It's just something about these really, really big house scents, like the big fragrance house scents, that make just really good, very interesting, very unique, but not so unique where you're going to kind of be off-putting, right? Where you're going to have people say, what is that? It kind of smells strange. Okay, I want to call this out again. I mentioned it in the video I did originally, but I want to call it out one more time. The razor does have a bigger head, so you kind of have to do this, right? But it is very smooth. Today I've been noticing it is extremely smooth with changing the blade brand. I'm getting almost zero effect. So when I switch blades, I like to try to kind of get a really mild blade, then I get a more efficient blade, and I kind of test them to see kind of how it feels side by side. Take a look at this. It's very smooth, but it feels very similar to when I was using the Parker blades versus the Med Preps. This very much dials them down. I would say it takes those Med Preps and it makes them feel very mild, very forgiving, and just very smooth. Sometimes those blades can be a little bit harsh in some razors, and I was curious if I was gonna get that harshness because this is still a very efficient, very efficient razor, and I actually feel like I'm getting slightly, like maybe even like a different kind of a performance. Whereas with the Parker blades, with their single blades, with their pre-cut blades, for me the razor, it did never fault, right? It was never like, it did never feel super aggressive. It never felt like I was having problems. It felt smooth the whole time. And I really thought that this was going to be different than that. I thought it was going to be like very unforgiving. It's not. It is super smooth. It takes those blades and it makes them just so nice. I like the Med Prep blades. I like them a lot, but I think I like them even more in the SoloEdge. Again, the Parker SoloEdge, and it has good, even, nice level exposure. Now, I wanted to call it out. I wanted to mention it because it's something that I saw today while loading the razor for the first time with those Personna Med Prep blades. I had never tested those blades before. So again, this is the first time I've seen it happen, and I wanted to call it out. I wanted to be perfectly transparent, 100% honest with everybody here. That's what I believe in. That's what I really like to talk about. Right? If I see something, I want you guys to know about it. And I did see this like crazy canter to the head. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Started playing around with it. And I realized those tabs, when they snap unevenly, you're getting to have a little bit of issue aligning that cap. Now, another trick I did do, I let off the actual screw and kind of let the head kind of set a little less tightly. And that also seemed to help if you don't want to cut those blade tabs. But as I was doing that, I did notice something. I want to call this out again. The cap, as I let off like the pressure, the cap started lifting off the blade uneven. It actually had kind of a uneven, unlinear lift to it where you could see underneath the cap in one place and not the other. Again, which kind of alluded to me to the back end of the blade was sticking up in one place and not the other. That's, again, something I noticed, something I really strongly wanted to talk about because I know people out there aren't going to want to use only the single blades and they're going to be kind of putting it together and be like, wait a second, Subi told me it's a good razor. What's going on? Why am I getting uneven blade exposure? When in reality, it's the snap on the blade. It has nothing to do with the razor. Awesome shave, very close, zero irritation. I love this sound. We're going a little bit more on this. Peeps Splash, absolutely one of the most hydrating, soft, elegant. It just adds kind of this beautiful hydration to my skin without making it leave like an oily residue. I really like this, the LMA, the sage, the lavender, all mixing together with vanilla. I like the chestnut in this a lot. The chestnut's very spicy. It gives it a smoky tone, and then you get the oud, the leather. It's gorgeous. Again, this is Stronger With You leather by Armani. Awesome stuff. And we've got it in hand. It's Year of the Dragon. Oh, just so much fun. Great label. Huge shout out to Pete for allowing us to do the video. And again, I hope that's helpful for everybody out there watching that wants to use a single edge, the Parker Solo single edge razor, but wants to use it with snap blades. Just something to watch out for. Thanks for being here with me today. If you haven't, please go below, smash that sub button. I'd love to talk to you in the comments. And until I see y'all again, Subs out.